Hello again. There is, or at least there should be, very clear demarcations between thought and action, also between private conversation and public speech. For example, I might have the most wicked thoughts, but these are nobody's concern. It is what I do that matters. Similarly, if I remark to a couple of friends I have invited round for dinner that I would be happy to see the present government swept away on a tide of revolution, that is quite a different matter from appearing on the streets and urging people to build barricades and arm themselves to overthrow the state. I hope that we can all recognise that these things are and have always been accepted in British law as being very different. Until the day before yesterday at Westminster Magistrates Court, that is. Because on Wednesday it was ruled in court that private conversations, and indeed the mindset of people, are now the proper business of the state, and one may be sent to prison for saying things which may offend other people, even if you're just chatting with friends. The case concerned a group of men, former police officers, who were not police officers at the time of the supposed offence, who belonged to a private WhatsApp group. They shared some pretty awful, tacky, tasteless and unpleasant material on this group, making racist jokes about Meghan Markle and so on. Also terrible stuff about other members of the royal family. They do sound a right bunch, but that's by the by. I think I can safely say that none of these men are the kind with whom I would wish to have any dealings, but that's nothing to do with that. The police became aware of this WhatsApp group and managed to obtain copies of messages and then arrested the 6 men. What were they charged with, you ask? An obscure offence known as the improper use of a public electronic communications network. You may not know, but if you tell a rude joke down the telephone to your friend, you're actually committing an offence. Under the 2003 Public Communications Act, a person is guilty of an offence if he sends by means of a public electronic communications network a message or other matter that is grossly offensive or of an indecent, obscene or menacing character. Of course, what is grossly offensive is a matter of opinion. But where racism is concerned, it didn't take the Crown Prosecution Service long to decide that anything racist is automatically grossly offensive, and so the prosecution went ahead. What this means is that anybody commenting on this channel is technically liable to be prosecuted and even sent to prison if what they say here is judged to be grossly offensive. The same applies for emails which you send. Even if nobody but the recipient sees it, these can be a criminal matter. I'm not sure if all viewers would be aware of this. I regard it as quite shocking, since so many of us now rely for our primary communication with others upon mobile telephones and so on. It means that even during a brief text or email or WhatsApp, we are always at hazard of arrest for deviating from what is regarded as the norm when discussing anything at all which other people might find offensive. What is even more disturbing is that the police officer in charge of the investigation said that the WhatsApp messages were less about the technology and more to do with the underlying mindset and the conduct that is important for us to deal with. Note, if you will, the way that mindset and conduct are rolled up into one thing. They are not, of course. My mindset is nothing to do with the state, although my conduct certainly can be. This is thought crime in action. One curious point is that I spoke the other day about a misconduct hearing into the actions of a Muslim police officer who was treated leniently by the panel, which was headed by another Muslim. I suggested this might have been the case of one member of a group going easy on another. Of course, the opposite can happen, in which the members of a different group may act more harshly against those belonging to another group. The defendants in the case of these WhatsApp messages were all old white men. The senior Crown prosecutor at the CPS who oversaw the prosecution is a Nigerian called Adeniyi Ogunleye. Do you think he might have a stronger view on the content of those messages than a white person? The magistrate who dealt with the case is called Tan Ikram. I cannot help but wonder if this had any bearing on the fact that these men were given suspended sentences for something which many of us feel shouldn't even be an offence. That is to say, having the wrong mindset and sending each other messages which some people find grossly offensive. In the description to this video I give a link to a news item about this matter.